So welcome back, everybody. Just want to do a little bit of an update and go ahead and talk about some of the tools I use. Um, but I did a real money trade shortly after the end of that last video, and I wanted to show you a little bit about that. Here's a screenshot. This is of my real money account. 10:43. I entered SPY calls. I was a little bit late getting that in that entry. You see, I got in. I bought 4 contracts at $1.24, so I spent about $496. And this is typical of what you've seen in my paper trades. I got out of half of it at $1.37, which is 10% profit. I sold one more at $1.40, and I sold the last. I was getting close to break even, and we'll take a look at what happened at these times and why I did it. So at 10:43, I got in, and let's take a look here. 10:43 was right about here. I got in calls because you see we have a pivot point here, and we also had yesterday's low was just above this. And again, I have it on my other chart, my other computer, but it's not showing yesterday's low. But actually, I think it was. No, it's not. So anyway, um, support one pivot, S1 pivot was at 278.37. So we lost that. We came down, and that's what we were watching earlier in that other video where I pointed out that we held this for a while. And you see what happened when we lost it. We came right down to this next one. Well, we held it, and my entry was, what did I say? It was 10:43. So you see here we held it, and this candle is actually a piercing line. A piercing line candle is one that opens below the close of the last candle, and the last candle has to be red. It opens below it and closes more than halfway through the body of the candle. So imagine this body right here. It opens below the close, so gaps down just a hair. You see this close was at 277.71. This open was at 277.70. Halfway, the body of this candle open was 278.04, closed 277.71. So you're looking at 30, what is it, 29, 33 cents, so about 16 cents. So roughly 277.87 would be the midpoint, and this closed at 277.90, so it was above the midpoint. And that's what this arrow indicates. And again, I show you that from up here. You go to patterns, select patterns, candlestick, and you see that I have piercing line as one of the ones that are show up. So we had a piercing line right off a pivot point. So that was my entry. I got in right here, 4 contracts. I sold half of them at 10.55, which would have been right at the beginning of this candle. The only reason I wasn't seeing any resistance points or anything, but it was 10% profit. I was at my 10% profit level, and I wanted to take some off the table. So I sold half here, and then you see I sold some more. I sold one more at 10.56, which was right after that. So right after the opening of this candle, I sold a little bit more, which is probably up in this range. Probably about here, because you see I did sell it for a higher amount. And then I sold the last one right at 11 o'clock. So that'll be an easy one to find. Right at the beginning of this candle, I sold the last one. And the reason why was because we had this pullback here. We came up and almost touched this pivot, and then we started to come back. And I was afraid we were going to come back further, and I got real close to my break-even point. So that's why I got out. You see, if I would have held on just another 5 minutes, Yeah, probably closer to 10 minutes because open of this one to the close of this one's 10 minutes. Yeah, I could have made a lot more, but hey, I'll take what I can get. Um, Happy with what I did, happy with what I made. In the end, it worked out. If you average that out, I already did the math. It's about 8.8%. Um, I'm happy with 8.8%. If I can do that every day, that'd be a pretty good, trading career. So you see, we came up, tested this pivot, didn't hold it, came down. We kind of tested this pivot here, and we lost it. So that's kind of what we're looking at. And I know there's a lot of lines. My other chart doesn't look quite as confusing as this because it's a bigger monitor. This is a laptop monitor, 15-inch laptop monitor, so it's kind of all scrunched together. If I remove some of this stuff, you see it helps to kind of open it up a little bit. And if I'd remove these, it would help open it up even more. But again, I don't trade from this particular screen. I will give a shout out. I was helping one of the members in the chat room through private messages earlier. He's probably gonna be watching these. I directed him to it, and that's why I do this. I just hope to help people. Like I said, I've had a lot of help along the way, and I just hope I can help somebody else. And again, reviewing these every day helps myself. So let's go. Let's take a look at some of the things I look for. You see in here, this is stockcharts.com. A lot of people open up this screen. This is their home screen, and they see free 1-month trial, and they have to sign up. You don't have to sign up. There's a lot of confusion. A lot of people in the chat room have came back and questioned, hey, I don't want to sign up for a trial. I have to put my credit card in. I don't know if you have to put your credit card in or not. I used to have a membership in this. I didn't need it. The only nice thing about having a membership is, number one, you'll see there's a lot of pop-ups in this. If you have a membership, you don't get the pop-ups. You can use a pop-up blocker. But if you have a membership, you don't get the pop-ups. And secondly, if you have a membership, you can save your settings, where if you don't have a membership, you have to redo your settings every time. I do want to go back. I just happened to glance over at my other chart, and I remembered something I wanted to point out. You see a doji candle here, and we talked before about a doji being indecision or possible reversal. That is true, but if you look here, we have a support level here and a resistance level here. When you get a doji in the middle of support and resistance, it's usually not very valid. It doesn't hold a lot of weight. The only support we have here is a 278 mental, and I don't put a lot of faith in mental support, especially for entries. Maybe for an exit, but not for an entry. Exits, I'm a lot more jumpier to get out than I am entries at getting in. If this doji was down here, I may have gotten in. I would have waited to see what happened after that doji. But when it's in the middle here, I pretty much ignore it. So I just wanted to point that out. And that's something that, some of the resources I mentioned before, you watch them and they'll point that out. Here's another one. This was doji right in the middle of support and resistance. Didn't mean anything. I entered, what was it, 1032 or 1043. I entered somewhere in here. I pretty much ignored this doji. I didn't really care about it because it was right in the middle between support and resistance. Market makers watch those. If they're not near support or resistance level, they're not usually going to act on them either. And that's, let's face it, that's basically what we're trying to do. We're trying to catch on to what market makers and algorithms are going to do. Try to anticipate what they're going to do. And they're not usually going to jump in when a doji is right in the center, in between support and resistance. So let's go back to stock charts. So you go to stock charts, you don't have to do the 1 month trial. You don't have to pay anything. Let's do SPY. Go in here, type in SPY up here, and here's your chart. First thing I always do is click inspect, because that puts the crosshairs up here, and it'll run a little bit slower, and you'll see all the pop-ups come up. See how it puts the crosshairs up here, and here we go with the pop-ups. They are annoying. I don't have a particular pop-up blocker on here. I know there's one built in the Firefox, but the second thing I do is I come down here and I take size and I change that to landscape. I come over here to color scheme. I change it to Mojave. You can put it whatever you want. It's just easier for me to read when it's this color. I come over here, I check price labels. What this does is puts price labels at these highs and lows, and after you see it's still loading, after it gets done loading, you'll see they'll pop up. But it'll put price tags at these highs and low points, and that'll just help you pick out support and resistance. Again, it's running slow because we have this pop up here that's trying to play. Plus I have my price quotes didn't show up for some reason. Price label, let me see, try full quotes. So while we're waiting for that, let's go down here. We can pick simple moving average, and I put the 100 on there also. And you hit update. Now before I hit update, I'm going to show you, if you did have a paid membership, you can have, I don't know if it's many as you one of these, but I know you can have more than 3. If it's the free version, you can only have 3 charts on here at one time, or 3 indicators at one time here and 3 down here. The paid membership, you can have more than 3, and believe in top and bottom. I only need 3. I'm not, I don't go too crazy on these. And I don't believe pivot points are even hard. There's the price labels. They showed up now. So let me get rid of that full quote, because I don't think you need full quote. I think you just need the price labels. So let's go back down here. MACD, I just leave it to default. RSI, I don't even really look at the RSI too much. I use the 50, the 100, and 200 simple moving average lines. Let's just see for fun here. We do have pivot points. Let's put pivot points in there and see what they look like. I've never used pivot points on stock charts, so let's just see. So we have a pivot here, support 1, support 2, resistance 1 is right here, resistance 2 right here. So that's something I might check into. Start looking at that a little bit, but I don't use pivot points on stock charts, but that's cool that they have them. Might be something worth looking into. So let's go back here. 100. Update. And okay, so you have your SPY chart, and you see I unchecked full quote. I only have price labels checked, and it did put them in here. Okay, we can go over here to FinViz. Now, if you go to FinViz, I've used FinViz for several years. There's a lot of different ways you can look for things. You can look for trend line support. There's just all kinds. Another thing you can do is you go up here to Screener. Click on Screener, and you have all these options that you can choose from. Current volume, I don't know, let's just say over 1 million. Let's see. Country, let's just do US. Let's do price. We can do, we can do whatever you want. We can, let's say you're looking to trade stocks. Let's do under $5. There's so many different things to look for here that you can do. You can do 200 simple moving average, where the price is in relation to it. Over here you have candlesticks. You can look for anything with a doji, anything with a hammer, anything with, all these.
Morning routine constantly delayed by bathroom lineups? Add.
Let me get rid of I got another pop-up that started talking here. Get rid of that. And that's what I mean about the pop-ups. They're not fun. So, you can do, come on, get out of there. You can do patterns. You have wedges, ascending triangles. Let's do an ascending triangle strong. That ought to narrow it down quite a bit. See how many are left. It says over here total. It'll tell you how many there are. And it looks like there are 0. So let's find a different. Let's do ascending triangle without the strong. Okay, there's 1. Let's do wedge up. And I'm not really much of a pattern trader, so I don't really use these that much. But you go over here and you click charts right here in the center, and it shows this, so you can get a quick glance. Now imagine you have 50 of these to look at. You have 50 of them. You can just quickly scroll down through. Let's change this up to see if we can find something that. Let's do trendline support. Let's see how many we find. 62 of them. So you can see that with this, you can quickly scroll down and see. And when you find something you like, let's just say we like this one. You right click, open in a new tab. So we're going to open it over here now. Now we get a better look at it. Now we can come over here and we can type in it's really running slow. Type in ASNA, ASNA. We can get a look at it here, see how it looks on this. So you see, doesn't look like a very good chart, but I was just giving an example. So we'll take that off because we don't like that one. But FinViz and stock charts are two of the tools I use. Let's go back over here to stock charts. If you scroll down, now I haven't used this for quite a long time, so let's see if it's, make sure, I'm sure it's still there, and it's available in the free version as well. So we may have to go back to the home page. I don't, and there's actually a lot of good tools, a lot of good educational resources in stock charts, right here in the chart school, and I'll get to that. All right, let's click on it now then. Click on chart school. Look at this. You have all these. Let's do technical indicators and overlays. Let's see what that says. You have Bollinger Bands, Chandelier Exit. I don't know what that is. Ichimoku. I used to use Ichimoku, so I'm kind of familiar with that. Moving averages, Parsar, pivot points, price channels, VWAP, technical indicators. So let's pick something simple. MACD histogram. Let's click on it and see what it does. It gives you a little description, shows you a little bit about the calculations, examples. So a lot of learning in here too. Most people just use stock charts just to look at charts, but there's also good educational content. So let's go try to find where this is at. Like I said, I have not done this for a while. Predefined scans, here it is. Click on predefined scans, and you come down here. Look what we have. New 52-week high, strong volume gainers, bullish 5200 crossovers, MACD crossovers. This shows how many results there are. I'm not sure what, I think this shows how many of these. I'm not real sure what that, I don't want to, I used to know what it means, but like I said, I haven't used this for a while. You have candlestick patterns, bullish engulfing. Let's look at bullish engulfing, and you have your different, you can check New York Stock Exchange, NASDAQ. It breaks it down into which ones are in what different categories or index funds. So let's click on bullish engulfing just to see what comes up. And here we go. We have over here, it gives you the close, the volume. You want something with a lot of volume, so I usually like to click on volume, highest to lowest. And I also look at close because I don't want to buy a stock that's $200 a share. That I don't have an account that size for that. I don't play that. GoPro. I'm just gonna, find something. I'm not necessarily looking for the next great stock. I'm just looking for something that I'm familiar with that I can click on. Let's click on GoPro. So you can click over here, snap chart, gallery view. PF is point. I think it's called point and figure. I've never used that. I don't know much about it. So let's click on GoPro. I'm going to open it in a new tab just because, like I said, I haven't used this for a while, so I'm not sure what chart this will bring up. So this brings up a regular chart. You can see this is a bullish engulfing candle right here. To me, the bullish engulfing doesn't mean that much because it's on a small candle, but the fact that it bounced off of a moving average line, I do like that. I'm not saying to play GoPro. I'm not saying to go out and buy GoPro, but this just gives you an idea what to look at. So because it was a bullish engulfing, it highlighted and said, hey, you might want to look at this. That chart doesn't look too bad in my opinion. I'm not buying it. I'm not going to buy it. I'm not recommending anybody else buy it. But you can click on any of these. Let's see what happens if we click on the actual name. It does the same thing. So we get the same thing there. So yeah, these are two places you can look to try to find stocks that might be ready to make a move. I personally haven't used these for quite a while, and the reason why is I mainly focus on SPY. I have a pretty busy job, so I can't sit and look at charts all day. I have my monitor with SPY up right next to my work computers, and I just glance out of the corner of my eye. When I see a nice setup, I'll go ahead and hit it. I don't have time to flip through dozens of charts or to find, you can set up scanners. And let's take a look at what that looks like. But you can set up scanners. You go to your Thinkorswim, click on scan. Right now I have it set for between $2 and $10. Let's do add study filter. Well, maybe I won't because this is the trial, or this is the add filter for stock. Okay, because this is paper trade version. So we can come down. You can check any of these you can add in here. I will tell you when you do add study filter, it'll let you check for different candle patterns. It'll check for hammers. It'll check for bullish engulfing, bearish engulfing. You can check just about any of that stuff. There's a lot of different options there to go through to look for. Let me see if I have any that are. There's some public ones. These are pre-built. I didn't set any of these, so let's do top 10 net gain New York Stock Exchange, or top 10 active New York Stock Exchange. There's only 30 stocks in New York Stock Exchange, so, or that's the Dow. You hit scan, and you see these are the top 10 most active. You can sort by whatever. You can even come over here and customize your list. Customize. You can add or remove whatever you want from there. You see the percentage change, net change, last, bid, ask, high, low. There's a lot of stuff in there to look at, but anyway, I just wanted to give you this quick video. Like I said, I wanted to show you what I did, what I looked at when I entered this trade right about here with real money. Rode this pretty much from this pivot point almost to this pivot point. Like I said, I don't look for tops or bottoms. I didn't enter right here. I didn't exit right here. I just want to chunk out of the middle, and I got that. If I would have sold the last one instead of a break even, if I would have sold it up here when I sold the next to the last one, I probably would have had, I don't know, 11-12% net. But you don't know. You don't know what it's going to do. I held that last one hoping we would break above this, end up here. I could have sold it for, I could have ended up at over 20%. But you don't know. So that's why I sell part of it and hold on to that last bit just to see what happens. And just don't let that last bit go red on you, and you'll walk away with money in your pocket. As long as you got the trade, the direction right initially, there's no reason you can't walk out with money in your pocket. If you try to hit a home run, there's a good chance you're not going to get that profit. You might lose money. Somebody trying to hit a home run there probably would have held all their contracts and may have tried to break above this, going back to high of day or something, and that would